Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's start an important topic, that is liquid crystals. जब भी हम एक solid को heat करते हैं, that solid melts into a liquid. Actually, all the molecules present in that move apart and forms a clear liquid. यानी हम ये कह सकते हैं that solids have sharp melting point. And at the melting point, the temperature remains constant. जब तक के तमाम solid melt ना हो जाए. लेकिन देखा ये गया है that there are some crystal-like solids, जिनको जब heat किया जाए, तो वो clear liquid में melt होने से पहले एक turbid liquid phase show करते हैं. This turbid liquid phase is actually the liquid crystals. So, the liquid crystal state is actually an intermediate state between solids and liquids. The substances which have arrangement like solids but freedom of motion like liquids are called the liquid crystals. So from this definition we can see that liquid crystal एक intermediate stage है. किसके दरमियान? Solid and the clear liquid के दरमियान. साथ ही साथ ये एक ऐसी स्टेट है जिसके बारे में हम ये इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहे हैं कि इसमें सॉलिड्स की तरह की अरेंजमेंट मौजूद है, लेकिन लिक्विड्स की तरह freedom of motion मौजूद है, which will be later on discussed in the properties of the liquid crystals. Now let's find out that how these liquid crystals were discovered. In the year 1888, Friedrich Rinzer, he was an Austrian botanist, he discovered liquid crystals. How? Actually, he was studying an organic compound that was cholesterol benzoate. What he observed was, this compound turned milky liquid at a temperature of 145 degrees Celsius and it became a clear liquid at 179 degrees Celsius. So इस 145 से 179 के दरमियान Friedrich Rinzer observed that cholesterol benzoate showed a turbid phase, and that turbid phase is actually the liquid crystals. और जब इस substance को cool किया गया, तो reverse process was observed. So what we are concluding is, these liquid crystals are having properties like liquids and crystals as well. यानी liquid crystal में liquids की तरह की properties भी नजर आ रही हैं और crystalline solids की properties भी नजर आ रही हैं. These liquid crystals are also called as the mesomorphic forms. This mesomorphic forms is another name for the liquid crystals. So, generally हम ये कहते हैं कि एक solid melt होता है तो clear liquid form करता है, लेकिन ऐसे solid crystals जो clear liquid बनाने से पहले एक turbid phase show कर रहे हैं. Actually, what is turbidity? Turbidity means very fine particles which just pass through the filter paper. They are not kind of insoluble large particles. This turbid phase is actually because of the liquid crystals having the properties of the liquids as well as the properties of the crystalline solids. So we can say that a liquid crystalline state exists between two temperatures, that is the melting temperature and the clearing temperature. That crystal forming liquid crystal and then a clear liquid. We can show the arrangement in this way. As we can see that the crystals have a proper orderly arrangement, quite clear from this figure, whereas in the case of the liquids there is freedom of motion. No regular arrangement can be seen. Whereas in the case of the liquid crystals, that is the mesomorphs, we can see some degree of order. which means that liquid crystals are having orderly arrangement just like the crystals. And on increasing the temperature, the crystals are first forming a turbid phase, that is the liquid crystal, and still increasing the temperature will change them to a clear liquid. So this is actually an intermediate state having the properties of the liquids and the properties of the crystal as well. अब हम डिस्कस कर लेते हैं कि लिक्विड क्रिस्टल्स में कौन सी प्रॉपर्टीज हैं लिक्विड्स की और किस तरह की प्रॉपर्टीज हैं क्रिस्टलाइन सॉलिड्स की. So, discussing the properties of the liquid crystals, we say that the liquid crystals are composed of long rod-like molecules. अगर हम नॉर्मल लिक्विड फेज की बात करें तो हमें ये पता है कि इन दैट लिक्विड फेज मॉलिक्यूल्स आर ओरिएंटेड इन रैंडम डायरेक्शन हैविंग नो ऑर्डरली अरेंजमेंट. लेकिन लिक्विड क्रिस्टल में दे हैव सम ऑर्डरली अरेंजमेंट. So, depending upon the nature of the ordering, the liquid crystals can be divided into three classes, that is nematic, smectic and cholesteric. It's quite clear that the liquid crystals having rod-like molecules can have these three types of ordering. So, the properties of the liquid crystals are intermediate between crystals and isotropic liquids. When we talk about the properties of the liquid crystals, हम ये कहते हैं कि liquid crystals have the properties of liquids like they have flow-like liquids. Along with that, they have surface tension. Surface tension that is characteristic of the liquids. And another important property is viscosity. Viscosity is another important property of liquids. So, liquid crystals show the following properties of the liquids, whereas they have the properties of solids such as orderly arrangement. हमें पता है एक proper orderly arrangement is the characteristic of the solids. Liquid crystals are also possessing an orderly arrangement, just like we can see in nematic, smectic and cholesteric orders. They also possess another important property which is characteristics of the solids, that is optical properties. So, we can conclude that liquid crystals have the properties like liquids as surface tension, viscosity, etc. But it is very interesting to know that the molecules of such turbid liquid possess some degree of orderness. So, due to the remarkable optical and electrical properties, liquid crystals can have wide application. So, now let's discuss the uses of liquid crystals. Number one is temperature sensors. Liquid crystals are actually sensitive to light. They are also sensitive to electric field and magnetic field. And because of this sensitivity, they have wide application. Now, how they are used as temperature sensors? Solids की तरह liquid crystals can show diffraction. Yani, when the white light passes through the liquid crystal, it appears colored because of the property of diffraction. And we know this diffraction is characteristic of the solid. अब अगर temperature change किया जाए, then the layer of the molecules of the liquid crystal will show different arrangement. और इस arrangement के change होने की वजह से, जैसी arrangement हम देख चुके हैं nematic, smectic and cholesteric में भी, इस arrangement change की वजह से color of the liquid crystals changes. Therefore, the color of the reflected light changes accordingly. और इस color change की वजह से the liquid crystals are used as temperature sensors. Coming to the second use, that is, the liquid crystals are used to find the point of potential failure in the electric circuits. This is again because of their sensitivity to the electric field. Coming to another important use is as a thermometer. The room thermometer contains liquid crystal with a suitable temperature range. और जैसे temperature change होता है, the figures show up in different colors and hence it is used as a thermometer. Next, and a very important use of liquid crystal is in diagnosis. In order to locate the veins, arteries, infections, and even tumors, liquid crystalline substances are widely used. How they are used? Actually, जो infectious parts of the body होते हैं या tumors हैं, they are hotter than the other parts of the body. इसीलिए स्पेशलिस्ट इस टेक्निक को यूज करते हुए स्किन थर्मोग्राफी में लिक्विड क्रिस्टल्स को यूज कर सकते हैं. And in this way they can detect the blockages in veins and arteries. For example, in order to locate breast cancer, a layer of liquid crystal is painted on the surface of the breast. A tumor shows up as a hot area which is colored blue, and this technique has successful use in the early diagnosis of the breast cancer. Coming to the next important use, that is in LCD, that is liquid crystal display. We know that LCDs are used in many electrical devices such as digital watches, laptop, calculator, pH meter, and various other electronic devices. So how this liquid crystal are used in the LCDs? Actually, the optical characters of the liquid crystals are changed by the electric field. How we use them? Liquid crystal is sandwiched between transparent electrodes arranged on glass in special pattern. When these electrodes are energized, the arrangement of the liquid crystals are changed. और इस arrangement के change होने की वजह से various numbers और letters are formed. यानी it all depends upon the sensitivity to the electric field. When that field or the electrodes are energized, उनकी वजह से liquid crystals के अंदर arrangement में change आता है. And because of that change in arrangement of the molecules of the liquid crystal, various numbers, figures or letters will be formed. And hence it is used in the LCDs. Moving on to the next use of the liquid crystals, that is in the chromatographic separation. Now liquid crystal possessing the properties of the liquids, इसी वजह से they can be used as solvents in the chromatographic separation. Now the last and the final use of the liquid crystal is in oscillographic and TV displays screens.